close to Royal Navy vessels. What follows is a mix of diplomacy, military strategy, and unspoken warnings. With Chinese spy ships increasingly active, near encounters with the Royal Navy are becoming more frequent. What happens when Chinese spy ships come too close to the Royal Navy? China has become a formidable naval power, with a modern navy increasingly active in international waters. A key strategy involves using spy ships, disguised as fishing trawlers or research vessels, equipped with advanced technology to monitor foreign naval activities and gather crucial intelligence. After spotting an unknown vessel, the Royal Navy crew first needs to identify it. The sophisticated radar array provides initial data on the vessel's position, speed, and heading. To confirm the radar reading, Royal Navy lookouts spring into action. They grab high-powered binoculars and scan the horizon in the direction indicated by the radar. In some cases, the ship's advanced optical systems come into play. Crew members activate long-range cameras, zooming in to get a visual on the unidentified vessel. This dual approach of electronic detection and visual confirmation ensures accuracy and provides the crew with a comprehensive initial assessment of the situation. The lookouts relay their visual findings back to the bridge, corroborating the radar data and adding crucial details about the ship's appearance. As more information streams in, the crew shifts its focus to identifying the actual vessel. The ship's intelligence officers take center stage, analyzing the gathered data. They compare the vessel's characteristics to known profiles of Chinese naval and intelligence-gathering ships. They scrutinize the ship's silhouette, looking for telltale signs of intelligence-gathering equipment, like multiple antenna arrays or distinctive sensor domes. They also assess the ship's behavior, noting any unusual movements or positions that might indicate intelligence-gathering activities. The intelligence team taps into databases of known Chinese vessels, cross-referencing the observed characteristics. They look at factors like size, shape, and any visible markings or numbers on the hull. The ship's electronic warfare specialists also join in the effort, attempting to intercept and analyze any electronic emissions from the vessel that might confirm its identity and purpose. As the picture becomes clearer, the team assesses the vessel's capabilities. They consider questions like, what kind of surveillance equipment might it carry? What range of intelligence could it potentially gather? How might its presence impact the Royal Navy ship's current mission? Simultaneously, the officers evaluate the potential threat level. While most encounters with intelligence-gathering ships remain non-violent, the crew must prepare for various scenarios. They consider the Chinese vessel's positioning, its proximity to sensitive areas, and any recent intelligence about Chinese naval activities in the region. Throughout this process, the crew must be calm and professional, understanding the importance of accurate information. They know that misidentification could lead to unnecessary escalation, while proper identification allows for an appropriate and measured response. As the Chinese spy ship approaches, the Royal Navy's captain is immediately alerted. The incident is quickly reported up the chain of command, ensuring that every level of the hierarchy is informed. Nearby Allied ships, if present, are also notified, enhancing regional awareness and preparedness. Relevant naval command centers receive the report, allowing for coordinated responses and strategic planning. As the identity of the Chinese ship becomes clear, the Royal Navy ship's captain orders an increase in readiness. Klaxons sound throughout the ship, alerting all personnel to the situation. Crew members not already at their stations quickly move to their assigned posts, ready to respond to any developments. The captain briefs key personnel on the bridge and in the Combat Information Center. They discuss the current situation, potential scenarios, and the ship's planned response. This ensures that everyone understands their role and the overall strategy. Following established protocols, the communication officer minimizes non-essential transmissions. This reduction in radio traffic serves two purposes. It limits the information the Chinese vessel can potentially intercept and ensures clear channels for critical communications. The electronics warfare team springs into action, implementing countermeasures to protect sensitive information. They power down non-essential electronic equipment that could emit signals to the Chinese ship that they might intercept. The crew members cover certain antennas and sensors with signal-blocking material, further reducing the ship's electronic signature. In some cases, the captain might order a shift in the ship's emissions control, or EMCON status. This could involve turning off certain radars or communication systems to minimize the electronic information available to the Chinese vessel. The weapons officer ensures all defensive systems are on standby, ready to activate if the situation escalates. While the encounter is expected to remain peaceful, the crew prepares for all contingencies. With the ship at increased readiness, the crew focuses intensely on monitoring the Chinese vessel, its movements, and its activities. The officer of the watch keeps a constant eye, tracking the Chinese ship's position, speed, and heading on radar. Lookouts on the bridge wings keep their binoculars trained on the Chinese ship, providing real-time updates on its visible activities. They watch for any changes in course and speed or behavior that could indicate the vessel's intentions. In the Combat Information Center, analysts pore over the data from various sensors. They track the Chinese ship's radar emissions, looking for signs of active scanning or intelligence gathering. The electronic warfare team monitors a wide range of frequencies, attempting to intercept any communications from the Chinese vessel. The ship's photographer documents the encounter, taking high-resolution images of the Chinese vessel from various angles. These photos will be crucial for later analysis and may serve as evidence if the Chinese ship engages in any provocative or unlawful activities. Intelligence officers gather all this information into a comprehensive log of the encounter. They note every movement, every emission, every observed action of the Chinese ship. This detailed record will inform both immediate decision-making and long-term strategic analysis. As part of the standard maritime protocol and to establish clear intentions, the captain may decide to initiate communication with the Chinese vessel. In this case, the communication officer prepares to transmit on international maritime frequencies. Following established protocols, the Royal Navy ship hails the Chinese vessel. They use clear, professional language, typically starting with a standard greeting. Chinese vessel bearing, whatever, nautical miles. This is the Royal Navy ship and its name. Identify yourself and state your intentions. Over. The crew listens intently for a response. Chinese intelligence gathering ships sometimes respond to such hails, while at other times they maintain radio silence. If the Chinese ship responds, the communication officer relays the message to the captain and notes it in the ship's log. Even if the Chinese ship doesn't respond verbally, the act of hailing serves as an important purpose. It signals to the Chinese ship that the Royal Navy is aware of its presence and is actively monitoring the situation. It also establishes a record of the Royal Navy ship following proper protocols. Based on the Chinese ship's movements and the overall tactical situation, the captain may order a series of maneuvers. These movements serve multiple purposes: maintaining a safe distance, optimizing the ship's defensive posture, and potentially limiting the Chinese vessel's ability to gather any intelligence. The officer of the watch works with the navigation team to plot and execute these maneuvers. They carefully adjust the ship's course and speed, always mindful of maintaining a professional and non-threatening stance, while also prioritizing the safety and the mission of their own vessel. One common tactic involves positioning the Royal Navy ship to minimize its acoustic and electromagnetic profile relative to the Chinese vessel, presenting the smallest possible target for acoustic and electronic sensors. If the Chinese ship attempts to close the distance, the Royal Navy vessel will execute a series of course changes designed to maintain a safe separation. These maneuvers are performed smoothly and predictably to avoid any perception of aggressive intent. In some cases, the captain might order the ship to increase speed, demonstrating the Royal Navy vessel's superior maneuverability and sending a clear message about its ability to control the encounter. Throughout these maneuvers, the officer of the watch continuously assesses the Chinese ship's reactions, ready to adjust tactics if the other vessel makes any unexpected moves. The weapons officer keeps all defensive systems at the ready, tracking the Chinese ship with fire control radars if authorized to maintain full situational awareness and readiness. Meanwhile, the engineering team stands at the ready to respond to any orders for changes in speed or power output. They monitor the ship's systems closely, ensuring peak performance during this period of heightened activity. As these maneuvers unfold, the captain regularly briefs the higher command on the situation. They provide updates on the Chinese ship's position, behavior, and any significant developments, ensuring that senior naval leadership and potentially government officials are fully informed and can provide additional guidance if needed. The intelligence team continues its work throughout these maneuvers, analyzing how the Chinese ship responds to the Royal Navy's vessel's movements. They look for patterns or reactions that might provide insights into Chinese tactics and procedures. All of these actions work together to achieve several goals: demonstrating the Royal Navy's professionalism and readiness, deterring any potential aggressive actions from the Chinese vessel, and protecting sensitive information, as well as gathering valuable intelligence about the Chinese naval operations. The crew remains focused and calm throughout this whole process, understanding that such encounters, while tense, are an increasingly common part of naval operations in the 21st century. What do you think? How should the Royal Navy handle these tense encounters? Let us know in the comments. If the captain deems it necessary, the electronic warfare officer initiates a suite of electronic countermeasures to protect sensitive information. These measures might include activating jammers to disrupt the Chinese vessel's radar and communication systems, making it more difficult for them to gather intelligence. The crew might employ decoy systems, transmitting false electronic signatures to confuse the Chinese ship's sensors. In some cases, they could use sophisticated spoofing techniques to feed misleading information to the Chinese vessel's receivers. Meanwhile, cybersecurity experts on board monitor the ship's networks for any signs of intrusion attempts, ready to counteract any cyber probes originating from the Chinese vessel. The captain fully weighs each electronic countermeasure, balancing the need to protect sensitive information against the risk of escalating the situation. They ensure that all actions comply with international laws and regulations governing conduct at sea. As the encounter unfolds, the ship's commander ensures that information flows not just up the military chain of command, but also through diplomatic channels. They send detailed reports to the Ministry of Defense, which in turn briefs the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office. British diplomats in Beijing also receive instructions to raise the issue with their Chinese counterparts, requesting clarification on the Chinese vessel's activities and reaffirming the UK's commitment to freedom of navigation in international waters. Depending on the severity of the incident, the UK government may issue a formal diplomatic protest to China. This protest would express concern over the Chinese ship's behavior, assert the right of the Royal Navy vessels to operate in international waters, and call for China to follow established maritime norms and laws. The diplomatic team carefully crafts its messages, aiming to convey the UK's position firmly while leaving room for dialogue and de-escalation. They coordinate closely with allies, particularly the United States and other NATO members, to present a unified front in response to China's naval activities. Unless the Chinese ship takes aggressive action, the Royal Navy captain will focus on de-escalation. They instruct the crew to maintain a professional demeanor and avoid any actions that the Chinese ship might interpret as provocative. The ship continues its planned course and mission, demonstrating that the Chinese presence will not deter it from its legitimate activities in international waters. However, the captain remains flexible, ready to adjust plans if the situation demands it. The communications officer maintains an open channel, ready to respond if the Chinese vessel initiates contact. They prepare measured, non-confrontational responses to any queries or challenges from the Chinese ship. Throughout this phase, the weapons officer keeps defensive systems on standby, but refrains from any actions that might appear threatening. The goal is to project readiness and resolve without escalating tensions. The encounter typically concludes when one of the ships alters course and moves away. Often, the Chinese vessel will be the first to break contact, having completed its intelligence-gathering mission or in response to the Royal Navy ship's clear communication and professional handling of the situation. If the Chinese ship moves off, the Royal Navy captain might order a course change to increase separation, but they do so gradually and predictably to avoid any misinterpretation of intentions. The officer of the watch continues to track the Chinese vessel on radar, while the lookouts maintain visual contact for as long as possible. The crew remains at a heightened alert state until the Chinese ship is well out of range, guarding against any last-minute changes in behavior. Once the encounter with the Chinese spy ship ends, the Royal Navy crew launches into a comprehensive after-action analysis. The captain compiles a detailed incident report that captures every aspect of the encounter, from the initial detection to the final disengagement. This report, rich with insights and specific recommendations, makes its way up the chain of command, providing senior naval leadership with a ground-level perspective on the evolving challenges in contested waters. Simultaneously, the ship's training officer begins the task of distilling key lessons from the encounter. working to update existing training programs and develop new modules that will better prepare crew members for similar situations in the future. These updates might include enhanced protocols for electronic warfare, refined communication strategies when dealing with foreign vessels, and improved tactics for maintaining optimal positioning during close encounters. The intelligence gathered during the incident proves invaluable to the broader intelligence community. Analysts pore over the data, piecing together new insights into the Chinese naval operations, capabilities, and potential strategies. This translates into updated briefing materials that will inform and prepare Royal Navy crews across the fleet, ensuring that they enter similar situations with the most current and comprehensive intelligence available. Strategic planners seize upon the insights gleaned from the encounter, using them to reassess and adjust long-term strategies for maintaining an effective presence in contested waters. They consider questions like, how does this encounter reflect China's broader maritime ambitions? What new capabilities or tactics did the Chinese vessel demonstrate? How can the Royal Navy optimize its resources and deployments to counter these evolving challenges? These strategic adjustments might influence everything from fleet composition and modernization efforts to patrol patterns and international cooperation initiatives. Additionally, the information helps in coalition-building efforts, as the UK shares its experiences with allies to foster a united approach in addressing China's maritime assertiveness. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the high-stakes world of naval encounters. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more videos about the Navy. Click on the next